I never should have replied. Even before I knew it, I wasn't comfortable. I should have just blocked him and tried to move on. To prevent myself from being identified through this story, I will not be using any real names, usernames, or even websites. I'll have to be vague. I also created a new Reddit account just so I could even say this, so please forgive my caution. I was on my computer one night, multiple tabs open, so many websites. I was having another depressive episode, and tonight was one of the worst ones. I felt, well, if you have depression, you know what it feels like. Like nothing. It's not the absence of feeling, it's the feeling of absence. Like it's all being sucked out of you. In any case, I was typing up a post online, talking about how I felt invisible. As I've been getting older, it felt like more and more people ignored me. Like it wouldn't have mattered if I just stopped existing. I've been feeling as though every part of me is just useless and there's nothing I can do to get better. I poured my empty heart out onto this post, hoping I could get all the negativity out of my brain before bed. Afterward, I cried myself to sleep. I woke up the next day feeling better? That's not the right word. Less awful. I didn't feel good. I just felt less bad. So I took my meds, went to work as usual, ran some errands, came home, played video games before heading to my bedroom with my laptop. I opened up some of those websites, clicking through things, looking at posts from friends and such, skimming the content. When I opened the website I posted on the night prior, I had a notification. Someone commented on my post. It was an odd comment, very simple and kind. They said how they empathized and hope I get better. But in addition to this, they messaged me directly. They told me they were studying psychology and that they believed they knew how to help me. For some reason, they also told me their name. Frank. He offered to talk about how I felt on Discord or Skype, saying he doesn't like to give people advice on a website comment. I sorta got what he meant. It can be hard to capture tone and meaning in text, but it felt weird. I didn't really want to just interact with some anonymous stranger on the internet, but it seemed he was nice. I looked at his account to see that he comments on a lot of similar posts, and they all were posts about depression and negative thoughts, so it started to feel like this guy was genuine. I gave him my Discord because I didn't really want to show him my face. He responded very quickly, even though I was only just responding to him. We set up a time to talk, where we used voice chat. He was very nice and sounded like he really understood what I was saying. It felt like someone wanted to hear the things I had to say and actually have a conversation about it. We started having multiple sessions. I would joke that they were amateur therapy sessions I should probably be paying him for, but he wasn't interested in money. Eventually, he asked again if we could use Skype. In the back of my head, I wasn't really comfortable with it, but it started to feel like he was just another internet friend, so I didn't mind so much. I said yes, and we set up a time to do a video call. This was ultimately the worst decision I've ever made in my life. The video chat was relaxed. He looked different than I had pictured. I'm a bit of a nerd, so when I think of Frank, I think Frank Castle from Marvel Comics. His real name was comparable to a Marvel character. I'm just using a different example. So when I saw him, he looked more like Reed Richards. Frank seemed much more organized than I thought. He'd actually been taking notes, apparently, and had been genuinely giving thought to my problems I was working on with him. So during our Skype, we would sometimes be typing down things we talk about and reference what he typed. It felt so great. Like someone actually could see me. After our Skype call, I started to feel better than ever before. It felt like I could get through a day without my meds. A couple days later, I asked if we could do another call, but he told me he needed to go on a trip and couldn't bring his laptop with him. He told me I'd be fine, that I'm doing great, and if I ever need him, I can text him on Discord, since he still has his phone. This was alright with me. I mean, as great as this was, I only met him a few weeks ago, so I was able to go on about my routine like normal. But over time, I felt my mind descend again. Like all the work we did was going to waste. It felt like the very fact that I was getting depressed again was only depressing me more. I tried to text Frank, but he was always busy. A month had now passed since I posted that depression post. I was just lying in bed on one of my days off, not feeling bad, but not feeling good either. By the logic of my condition, I suppose you could say it was a good day, in that I had the energy to get up, walk around, and eat food, but still. And then I heard some noise outside. It sounded like some people arguing. I find people watching entertaining, so I took a peek outside my window, trying to be discreet so nobody caught me peeking. The lights were off in my house, all the curtains were drawn, and there was still some daylight left, so peeking through the less than half a centimeter wide hole in my curtain was safe. I was right. 2 people standing outside their cars were arguing over probably nothing. One of them was my neighbor, and the other looked like her sister. But the one thing that caught my eye was the man walking by them on the sidewalk across the street. A man who looked a lot like Reed Richards. It was weird. Maybe it wasn't him, but it looked so close. I could have sworn Frank was walking by my house. He was looking at his phone, then looking up at houses, as if he was comparing. I was about to go outside when he looked over at my house. I stopped, dead in my tracks, peering through the tiny eye hole in my curtain. It was odd. Part of me was concerned, part of me was confused, and a part of me just wanted to go out and ask why he was here. In any case, it took me a moment for the dread to kick in. How did he find where I live? Why did he lie about where he was going? I heard knocking at the door. No voice, just soft, polite knocking. I didn't know what to do. I was still so confused, so I pretended I wasn't home. He went away after about 10 minutes. I was expecting him to text me, but he didn't. It all felt so weird. Fortunately, all the curtains were drawn in my house, so I could feel safe opening my laptop without giving away I was home. I did some poking around on my online profiles, first looking at the ones I knew he had. Nothing. No reason, nor obvious method he could have used to track me. Until I went to one of my social media accounts, which had pictures of me. A picture of my house when I moved. But why would Frank do this? He didn't seem like a stalker. I was still so confused. I kept wanting to text someone, but Frank was the only person I'd talked to in the past month. Nobody else in my life ever listens to me anyway. All my friends are surface level at best. All my family seemed beyond the empty nest feeling. And all my coworkers knew me as the quiet one. It was only him. Only Frank. I went back to my post from a month ago, and I reread our first conversation. I went to go find his profile again and looked closer at all the posts he commented on. 12 comments on 12 posts, each 2 months apart. Every single one of those posts had users with deleted accounts. Except one. Me. Each time, he commented nicely on their post, and within the next 2 months, they had deleted their account. That was it. You couldn't tell who these accounts were because once they were deleted, everything except what they posted was gone. It's as if they just stopped existing. I thought the feeling of dread I had couldn't get any worse until I heard weird clicking noises at the back door. Someone was breaking in. I freaked out, closed my laptop, and went inside the closet to hide. It was roomy enough to sit down, but it was pitch black. It had gotten dark outside at this point. Sooner than I expected, the intruder had opened the door. It was hard to hear, but from what I could tell, he didn't know I was home. I heard him lock the door behind him, walk around softly as if checking if anyone was here. I couldn't breathe. I was in total shock, every ounce of my body trying to not make a noise. From what I could tell, he eventually sounded satisfied with the emptiness of the house, and it sounded like he set something metal on the kitchen table and a bag onto the floor. I heard the sounds of him taking things out of his bag and what sounded like tape being used. After he was done, he walked up by the closet I was in, stopped for an amount of time I'm sure my overtly distressed mind could not accurately recount for you, and kept walking. After a few moments, I heard him open my laptop and sit down. I couldn't tell he opened the laptop until I heard clicking and typing from my keyboard again. Again, I couldn't have known it was my laptop at the time, but I did a little bit later. Finally, thinking rationally, I quietly looked for my phone and remembered I had left it in the living room, right by my laptop. Setting aside the lack thereof ability to call the police and the fact that my phone was being guarded by my intruder, it also provided another detrimental source of tension. If you knew me, you would know that I'm a very methodical person, and even during major depressive episodes, I never fail to leave the house without my keys, wallet, and phone. Which means you have to know me to know I'm not a forgetful person, and realize that I'm probably still home. You'd have to know me like Frank knows me. After a few minutes, the typing sound stopped. I felt like he was looking right at me even if he didn't see me. I heard him walk up near the closet again, my heart thumping. He moved very quietly, but I heard him go and pick whatever metal object he set on the kitchen table, and then slowly walk up the stairs. I knew this was my only chance. I slowly creaked open the door, looking toward the living room. My phone was still there, right next to my laptop. In a state of panic, I booked it towards my phone and ran out the door for my life. I didn't even look behind me. I just kept sprinting, frantically dialing 911. I eventually stopped at a Subway and told the responder as much of the relevant immediate information as I could. There was someone in my house, I think, trying to kill me, and I'm hiding at a public establishment. Eventually, a police car came and brought me to my house. The door was still wide open for me running, and I was worried that the police wouldn't believe me. But the other officers already at my house confirmed. There was a kill room set up, with garbage bags taped up all over the floor of my kitchen. The officer joked that it looked like someone watched Dexter and tried to do the same thing at a lower budget. But I was far beyond the ability to laugh about this. They let me look inside to confirm, but told me not to touch anything. After a bit, I answered all their questions, but all I could give them was a description. I didn't know anything about him, except his name was Frank. I told them about the deleted profiles, and when they didn't understand, I tried to log into that same website. But I wasn't able to log in. And it took me a moment to realize when he was on my laptop, he was deleting my profile. I even checked Discord to see if I could show any other conversations, but he deleted those too. From my end, all of my login information is saved on my laptop, so he could have easily tampered with all the accounts. I couldn't contact Frank, not only because he deleted all of my accounts with conversations with him, but also because he deleted all of his accounts, rendering him untraceable. I've since then moved to a different state, of course. Fresh start. I won't say where, for obvious reasons. But I've tried to heal from all of this. I'm more cautious on the internet now. Simple common sense things, upping the privacy settings on my profiles, that sort of thing. I've spent a lot of time unraveling everything he did on my laptop, and I like to think I've been able to put it past me since that happened a year ago. Until I found a folder today on my laptop. I swear, wasn't there before. It just had a saved PDF inside, with 3 words in small, responsible text. I see you.